When I was a kid, I remember playing Ocarina of Time and walking into the Temple of Time and thinking that that was one-to-one perfection of 3D video game presence. Like you were a child and you were in this huge steeple. Going outside, you see the huge model of the temple, and even to this day, I still kind of associate the look of the Temple of Time with the Notre Dame Cathedral. But more importantly, that was one of the first times that I was truly immersed in that 3D space with the music and everything. The detail is what's coming to mind. Obviously, the Temple of Time is not a real place in the world. Nonetheless, I'm sure it's partially inspired by many Western cathedrals and structures. And here we are with the fire and the destruction of the Notre Dame Cathedral. And I just kind of wanted to talk about how video games have a kind of unique place in possibly being able to preserve things. And video games have a unique opportunity to be able to preserve the integrity of these structures digitally in a way that traditional photography and video cannot, especially as games are getting more and more impressive and one-to-one in scale. Before I get into this, I am just going to say we are having a giveaway. Every 10 subscribers, we give out a Steam code. All you have to do is be subscribed. And we really appreciate your support. You guys have been doing an awesome job supporting us, and we love your comments. So let me know down below what you guys think of this idea. So here we are with Assassin's Creed Unity, game that came out in 2014, not necessarily regarded as the best Assassin's Creed, but one of the level designers of that game, Caroline Mousse, I hope I said that right, but here's a picture I hope that will give her the justice she needs. She spent over 2 years constructing a digital version of the cathedral. She studied the Notre Dame extensively and noted that, I'm going to quote her, she wanted it to feel like she was going home uh, between playing the game and visiting the actual cathedral for her research. She worked with blueprints and she went to the building many times and she read various books on the design of the building. She's essentially an expert of the building who spent 2 full years creating a 3D model of it. And here's the thing, guys, 3D modeling doesn't happen for very many things at all, with the exception of video games. You think of movies that, I mean, yes, there's 3D modeling in those 2D movies, but that CG is not a fully rendered 3D interior. That CG is only showing exactly what you need to see. So there's CG in movies, but even past that, actual video recording of the cathedral is still flat and has warped perspective depending on where you're standing and who's standing where, because you need that 3D visual to actually get the depth and see the scale correctly. Same with pictures. Things can be skewed. Even if you have a picture of every inch of that cathedral, it would be very hard to construct things in a one-to-one scale kind of fashion. And really, video games are one of the extremely few places where interiors are 3D, not only scanned, but rendered perfectly. And actually, this could, there's already been some people beat me to the punch in this video, but there's already some sources saying that, yeah, we could use between the game itself, Assassin's Creed Unity, the research and renders that are done in the background, like maybe they could reach out to Ubisoft, who is a French company, to maybe get some more things behind the scenes that we don't see or know about the cathedral. Maybe there's a more detailed, higher laud render out there they could use. Or just in general, preserving that experience, even if it's not real, for all these people who have ever played Assassin's Creed Odyssey or who want to now experience the cathedral. So games now, that was in 2013, games now are using more advanced techniques. The Vanishing of Ethan Carter and apparently the Elder Scrolls 6 is actually using a technique called photogrammetry, which is when you actually scan and capture images with cameras and create an exact 3D scanned replica of that image. And this is going to presumably happen in some capacity in future Assassin's Creed games. As things are getting more precise, things are getting more exact, we'll eventually be able to actually scan in, call it the Colosseum in Rome, or any of these well-preserved historic sites, and keep a digital copy of them forever, so that when the inevitable does happen, we'll have the sources to fall back on to not only reconstruct accurate renders, but we'll also be able to experience them and pass those experiences on even when everything is essentially gone. And there's another thing that I want to talk about that comes off of this topic, and that is the idea of video game preservation at all. Like I said, eventually all these things will go away, and as we're quickly approaching a world where streaming is the only medium to consume games, it seems like that is a very real possibility in the near future. So let's take any other historic building, for example, and just say that it takes place in the Assassin's Creed universe. Let's just spitballing. Let's just say Independence Hall in Philadelphia. Let's say in 2026 there's an Independence Hall, fully one-to-one photogrammetry render of Independence Hall, and in 2030 the hall is destroyed, and in 2036, because the game's only accessible on stream version, there's no physical discs, there's no local access to the code, Ubisoft decides to pull the game, and we no longer have that. So there's and well, yes, in that event, I'm sure access to those scans would still be possible for reconstruction purposes. Allowing people to experience these things would potentially no longer exist. And those are just a few thoughts I had, some good, some bad. Positive being, it does seem like in some capacity the work of Ubisoft could be used to help, and the unique aspect of games having fully rendered 3D environments that you can explore, and the painstaking detail that the artist went through to recreate the Notre Dame Cathedral could be of use. But even further, hopefully we come up with some video game preservation method as we enter this age of streaming, so that these things can be accessed to the masses as history does its thing and takes things away just as much as it gives to us. Let me know what you think down below. And that's all for me, guys. Hope you have a good night.